What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding, and today will be a nice leg workout. And today I actually started my maintenance phase for the contest prep I will be doing in about 2 to 3 weeks. So this contest prep will only be like 16 weeks because my shape currently is better than it was before at the previous contest prep, which was 20 weeks. So under the guidance of Stefan Kinzel, aka Boss of Outlaw, we will be doing our best to get myself in the best possible shape with the best possible fullness. And for that we need to keep training the legs, especially the hamstrings. So that's the first movement we will be doing, the unilateral leg curl. So let's warm up first. In this warm up guys, make sure the contraction you feel here is your standard throughout the entire exercise. So if you're doing your very last working set and the very last rep doesn't have this type of contraction, it's not a complete rep to give that hamstring the fullness it deserves. Increasing the weight with increments of 5 kilos every time. And this is automatically like the warm-ups I'm going to be doing, starting with 10 kilos, increasing with 5 every single time until I feel okay, now these 3, 4, 5 reps are starting to become a little more effort to do these. And then it is time to do a working set with 5 kilos more and aiming for like 8 to 12. So let's warm up a couple of times more and then go for the working set. Okay, I think one more working set actually, warm up, and then we're gonna go for it. Guys truly want an oversized shirt, this one, I'm around 6'3" officially and 190 centimeters, and this is a 4XL. And normally oversized shirts don't come very low. We do have those true old school shirts which are quite short, like in the 80s, but if you truly want oversized, you can get stuff like this as well on the website, and this is very comfortable to train legs in, as I'm doing today. Okay guys, first working set. This is going to be quite heavy, 25 kilos per leg. Obviously, depending on the leg curl, it might sound light, it might sound heavy, but in this one, it is very heavy. This machine is from the 80s, so it's with a chain, so the weight that is actually on there, you feel. So let's try to gain at least 8 reps here. If I can do more, we're gonna do more, but it has to be with good form. Let's go. So the left one, I was able to do 8 reps, with the 8th rep being very difficult, and the right one, the 8th rep was, was doable. I might be able to do 9 or even 10 there, but this is where balance is important, guys. Classic physique, muscles need to be in proportion, so the left side is a little bit behind the right side, so if it would go to failure with both, the gap would never be closed. So remember that. Start with the weak side and match the reps with the strong one. Okay guys, second working set. I lowered the weight with 5 kilos because I want to do a little more reps here, get more blood in the hamstrings and really make sure that I feel them correctly, because that's the only way to grow a weak muscle group. Let's do this. Oh, this is perfect weight for a very good connection to the hamstrings. 13 reps, but they were all quality reps, which I felt for 90% of the hamstrings, a little bit of glutes, but that's controlled momentum, guys, what we like to call it. Last working set after this. Okay guys, last working set, so the third working set. And the second one was 13 reps. We're going to try to match this, but it's normal if you can't, because sometimes your reps don't match the second working set anymore, but let's just give it a shot. Yeah. And for those who do not know, literally on this exercise, on this machine, I partially tore my hamstring before the 2020 Olympia, and you know, got a blue calf in return with all the blood loss in there. But that's something, a lesson learned, guys. I went to 35 kilos back then as a working set. It was in the morning, I had a bad night of sleep, and I simply wanted to force my logbook on myself during prep. And when that happened, I forced myself too far, and that's when I got the ultimate sign: never train like that again. So a little lighter, stop when you feel like, okay, I'm hitting failure. Don't use too much momentum, and save yourself a whole lot of pain and some extra years in your bodybuilding career. Right, time for the second movement, one that you haven't seen from me before. Remember when you got into this space last leg workout, I was talking to you about expanding the space with more machines, and the first machine has arrived. It is right over there. It's called the Booty Builder. And you might think, a booty builder for a professional bodybuilder, how does that make sense? Well, the name says it. It is a booty builder, so it builds the glutes, which is one of my biggest weak points, and I can't do hip thrusts with a barbell because the barbell will lean on my hip, and there's a nerve right here that will impinge the moment I go upwards with even a light weight. So, and the sad thing is, for me, I'm very strong in the glutes with a hip thrust, but the glutes are a weak point, so I would have to do a lot of weight, a lot of pressure on the nerve, which is impossible for me. Trust me, it's like a knife being stabbed in your leg, not really something you can focus on then. So now we're going to the Booty Builder, which is specifically designed for the glutes, and it feels really good. I've already done it a couple of times, and it feels extremely isolating for the glutes, and it's exactly what I want to train after the hamstrings, then the glutes, and only then we're going to do some compounds. So let's get started on the first warm-up here. So a nice thick belt, so this disperses the pressure along my hip. So for people who have no idea about what nerve pain feels like, it's literally like someone stabbing you. So anything that reduces it already feels really good. So this already is pretty heavy. Let's do it. purely isolating the glutes. No lower back, maybe a little bit of hamstring, but hey, that's exactly what we want to improve. Time for the second warm-up, but this is already very heavy in my opinion. This also has a resistance band, so the higher you go, the more heavier it becomes, but a couple of reps with this one and then the working set, so let's go. Oh, I need to go a little lighter now, and then otherwise it won't be quality reps. So a little heavier, and then the working set begins. Okay, guys, time for the for the working set here. So let's go to failure and make those glutes work. Oh. The most difficult thing about this movement is you want to really isolate the glutes, so when you go all the way up and it becomes difficult, what you don't want to do, you can even use the quads here if you want to do the movement, but that's exactly what you want to avoid. You only want to feel the glutes, and then you start to shake because that muscle is not used to this kind of contraction, this weight, this isolation. So when you start to shake, that's exactly when you need to keep going, because that's your nervous system telling you, hey, I can't control this yet, let's adapt and grow. Okay. Woo! Oh. Okay, the last working set here. And we're doing 2 working sets, not 3, because I don't want to annihilate the muscle. I want to stimulate the muscle just enough so it doesn't take away from the next movements, which also include the glutes. So with this, you stimulate it for the 80 out of the 100%. And if you would do 100%, you would not be able to do the compounds fully. So it's always a game of balance. Anyway, let's go. Ooh. Woo. No matter what you do with a compound movement, you try to focus the glutes, you never get this feeling, guys. It feels like when you're training biceps, you go to failure, that pump feeling you now have in the glutes, which is telling me, okay, this is the way for me to grow the glutes, because if you have a weak point in your body, it means that the type of training you've been doing all these years has not been adequate enough to stimulate that muscle the same way as other muscles are stimulated. So when I feel this, I feel the pump, the contraction, compared to what I feel in the biceps, which also is a strong muscle group. So that's already a correlation that I like to make that tells me this will work. Alright guys, it's time for my favorite movement. Guess what? It's the ATX Belt Squat. But this time we're going to focus a bit more on the glutes we just did the glute isolation movement, and now it's time to focus on the glutes with a compound movement to further finish it off. So, we're going to do this belt squat without weightlifting shoes, which would elevate the heel with the shoe itself. Now we're using these ATX wedges to elevate the heel that way, and the more your ankle, well, the less your ankle has to be flexible, has to flex, has to stretch, the deeper you can go and the more knee flexion you can get. And the more knee flexion you can get, the more stretch is happening, and the more stretch means the more growth, and yeah, move up in weight. So the amount of warm-ups you do here should be correlated to how you feel. So sometimes you only have to do 3 warm-ups, sometimes you have to do 6. Really doesn't matter. So the warm-ups per workout are dynamic, and the working sets usually are static. So warm-up literally means do lighter sets, increase them in weight until you feel ready, painlessly ready to do the working set. So let's increase it every single time and let's see where we end up in weight. Stands are a little wider here, guys. The wider the stance up to a point, the more you can target the glutes and the adductors on the inside. So let's go. Okay guys, let's go with a heavy weight. Depending on the first few reps, I will find out whether this is the working set or not. Woo. Too light, unfortunately. Okay. Oh. Oh. That felt good, guys. I'm gonna do one other set like this, and then probably one or two more with a lighter weight. Like there's two kind of warm-ups. First you warm up the exercise, the movement, and then you warm up the feeling of the heavy weight on your muscles. And once you get used to that feeling, you can do another set and get more into that groove, which I think just happened. And now we're gonna reduce the weight a little bit and crush it for 2 more sets. We removed 25 kilos from each side, which is a lot, well, it's like in between 10 and 20% weight reduction. And that should be enough to at least do a couple more reps. Let's go. Yes, that's lactic acid, guys. Higher reps, more metabolites, and metabolites is also muscle growth. Okay, last working set. As you saw, the reps were a little bit faster. Why? Because the heavier the weight, the more you have to focus on not messing up your form. If you go a little lighter, you want to increase the pump a little bit more. And in my case, the pump is increased when I do a little faster reps. Still no momentum, but the movement is a bit faster, recruiting more of those explosive muscle fibers. This one is finished, and now it's time for the next compound movement. Okay, now it's leg press time. I think we're only doing 1 or 2 warm-ups, maybe even only 1. We're gonna put the feet quite high, knees quite wide to allow for a good range of motion. And the weight doesn't matter. It's what you feel in the muscle. And even as I'm sitting here, I can feel the lactic acid, I can feel the pump in the quad, so I know there's not a lot of weight required to go to failure here. So let's give it a shot. Let me explain the range of motion here. So I'm literally going down as far as I can until I feel a tightness in the lower back or in the hamstrings, telling me if you go even lower, you're going to put stress on other muscles compared to the legs. So I'm going as deep as I can, and the only way to go deeper is for me to become more flexible in the hamstrings mostly, because they pull my back and my back is then being stressed. So this range of motion is maximum within the safety level I can do it. If I force myself to go deeper, which I don't advise anyone to do, then injury might happen, because I actually injured my lower back here a couple, well, 1.5 years ago or something, or 2 years, and you don't want to go through that. When you look at a lot of videos of hardcore bodybuilding, especially back in the day where they fully stack the leg press, they might have big legs, but are they in proportion to the rest of the body? Especially when you're in classic physique. Focus on the muscle, guys. Don't focus on other muscles, especially here. If you go way too heavy, you might actually expand your waist a lot more, and isolation for classic physique is the key for balance. Yes, you feel this a lot in the quads, a lot of lactic acid buildup, especially around the teardrop area, which is never a bad thing to grow. So we're gonna do 3 working sets here. We're gonna remove 1 plate and then do the last working set. Yep, that feels like quality reps, guys. If you don't feel the muscle in a combat movement like this, I mean, find a different kind of execution, because what I feel right now is like, okay, my legs have always been a weak point, but my upper body a strong point, because I always felt a good pump and I never felt it in legs. But once you find the proper form, proper execution that works for your anatomy, And then the pump returns to a place you never thought it could be. And when you get a good pump, you're rest assured you stimulated it enough for muscle growth. Alright, we are going to do a standing calf raise as a finishing movement. So one workout I do the seated or standing calf raise as the first movement, and the other workout as the last movement. So at least one time a week I prioritize the calves to make them grow beyond anything they've ever been before. But right now, standing calf raise using the ATX Calf Raise block, which I actually just used for the belt squat. You have an attachment below it to raise it, so you can actually do calf raises below a Smith machine like this. So let's warm up and then go straight into the working set. Let's go a lot heavier. Still too light. Let's give it a try with this weight. Yes, this is going to be a nice working weight. I'm gonna aim for more than 10 reps here. All the way down. Guys, if you don't go all the way down, your calves will never be big. So go all the way down, all the way up, slow range of motion. Very effective. Feels good, guys. Last set of the day, guys. Let's finish it off. Alrighty guys, we are done with the workout, and after the workout it's of course time for the post workout meal, and the legs feel nicely and pumped, which is what I always feel after training the chest, the back, the arms, and that's what you want to feel in a weak muscle group if you wanted to make it grow, on top of eating a lot of food and nutrition to make it grow. So let's go home and eat a worthy meal. Alright, so to be honest, I already had my post-workout meal right after the workout at the gym. Right now it's about 2 hours later. So that post-workout meal was 180 grams of cream of rice, a banana, 15 grams of dark chocolate, and 60 grams of whey isolate. So very easy, very quick as a post-workout meal after legs, because that is very important. So I had that as a backup at the gym because I needed to do some work. But now it's time for the post-workout meal. So let me show you what that is. So I already prepared beforehand this little container of rice, golden rice of course. So this is 150 grams of golden rice with a little bit of salt and of course turmeric for the golden color. And this is some vegetables that we already prepared as well. So this is a mix of zucchini and mushrooms, just a nice addition to this. Just about, 100 to 150 grams, adding this to each and every meal. Either it's this or, well, we don't really have many vegetables left here, but for example, we have some bell pepper, some cucumber. I like to add those combinations as well, just to add some vegetables to the meal. And right here we have some shrimp. So this is a crock pot, which we're gonna put the steam on for just 1 minute. Turn it on. So right here we have some shrimps and a little bit of white fish to make sure there's enough protein. You put on the lid and right now it's heating up. Just gonna take 1 minute of steaming once it is hot enough, and then it's done. So all we have to do right now is warm this up, wait for the protein source and see the end result. And this is what you get when you add everything together. Some codfish, some shrimps, enough protein, enough carbs, some vegetables, and I also added 15 grams of olive oil because this is the post-workout meal. So you can add some fats here if you need the calories, which I do need for this phase. So I mentioned that this is my maintenance phase. So for about 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be maintaining my weight and then the contest prep will begin. So these are the kind of meals I will keep eating for these few weeks, and from then the meals will decrease in calories, mostly carbs, and the fats. Protein will stay the same, of course. But yeah guys, this is going to be the start of an awesome prep, and of course, thank you for watching. Don't forget to stay golden, and also don't forget to check out vintagegenetics.com and leave your feedback down below, because the quality of these videos will remain very high, but we always want to hear your feedback. What do you want to see? What do you want to see next? What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? Your feedback decides how the videos will look like. Anyway guys, thank you for watching, and once again, don't forget to stay